November 10th, 2017. I just wanted to do this video. First off, more of a leader than a follower, and I choose to stand alone before I follow somebody. But in some incidents, in some situations, you do have to stand together as a unit, as a team, and be supportive. And I believe this truth community is it's there's no strong structure as a team, or as another channel to other channel. It's really divided, and I don't really think that's a good thing right now. So I do not consent, or we do not consent. I'm standing behind it. You know who started it. I don't want to say his name because I'm not looking for views from his people. I don't want it to affect mine, just because I use somebody's name. But everybody knows who started We Do Not Consent, and I am supporting it, and so I'm put that in the title. And if you have a channel, please on your next video, even if it's not part of your title, make it a part of your title. Put it at the end or at the beginning in parentheses, whatever. Let's spread this thing. Let's see where it goes. We got a channel that's got a little bit more mainstream, and let's back him up. He's got a little leverage, so let's push it forward and see what happens. I had told you before about electronic harassment, and that I had during the hurricane, that I had felt like I had been possibly attacked or harassed electronically, and I was trying to describe my teeth, and how one of my impacted wisdom teeth had actually grown out. Well, if you listen to I'm gonna play some audio of a interview with a whistleblower from a national security company. That the company is SIS, and it's based out of Seattle, and it's actually a nationwide security company, and the U.S. government hires this company to do their work. So it's in the Constitution that way. So I really want you to listen to what this guy's talking about as far as the electronic harassment goes, and how real this is. And I want you to hear the symptoms of it, because most of us, or a good percentage of us, are being electronically harassed, and most people probably don't even know it. They probably just think they're got a bad attitude, or things are going rough at the house. Everybody has problems, but this may help solve some of them at least. And I just want you to really give a good listen to what your body goes through as it gets electronically harassed. One of the things is your teeth, no matter how good you take care of them, your teeth will push out, and people have been known to swallow their teeth, even that they'll fall out in the middle of the night. They'll actually be pushed out of their gums. It's crazy, but it happens. So give this a really good listen to. This is insider. I guess he got fired, and now he's constantly being surveilled and stuff like that. So really good interview to listen to, and really let you know what's really going on. And it's not even so much behind closed doors anymore. It's pretty wide open, and it's a pretty common thing. And I'm only going to show a few pictures on it. It's not my work, so I just want to show you some of the pictures of where this frequency and this transmission will go out in your city or town. And maybe I can find some ways to protect yourself too. So maybe at the end of this video, we'll be able to find some stuff that protects us from this. And when I run out of the pictures to show you some stuff about the electronic harassment, I'm just going to finish it off with some of the pictures I've taken with the sky. So it might not go necessarily along with the interview, but I just want you to hear it. I just took the audio of it. I didn't want to copy somebody else's video. I just want you to be able to hear some of this audio on this interview. It's really important. Y'all take care. And for those of you that had all the nice things to say and about the karma and my fingers, thank you very much. I really, really appreciate it. It's made me feel really good, especially in a dark time. Being a carpenter and a musician, and you cut your fingers off, rip your fingers off, whatever you want to say. You know, it's a hard thing to deal with. And then let alone not being able to work, it makes it even harder. But just the positive comments and everything just made me feel so much better. And I appreciate it, guys. Thank you very much. You guys are awesome. Thank you. You all take care.
Academia normally teaches, usually within the fields of science and technology. And the reason for this is because people running the program want to cover up certain technologies and certain aspects of science that can lead through to tremendous breakthroughs. These highest levels of science and technology are the sole purview of classified sectors of our government and military, and as a result, it is not, the opinion is that the American people do not have the right to this information and is in the national security interest of our country to keep it classified. And so that is the answer to your question. What I will do, though, is take this opportunity to distinguish really quickly between the larger phenomenon of TIs that is usually a person in America that's being targeted by the technology and is being gang-stalked by members of their community, and the specific program that I am whistleblowing on. The specific program I am whistleblowing on involves the actual abduction of TIs from around America. They're put on a Greyhound bus and they are shipped to Seattle, where they are made homeless. They live in one of the homeless shelters where they are housed and experimented on with voice-to-skull technology, and then they are funneled into SIS to work as low-level security guards, where they are experimented on even more. So that is a specific program, and that's what I detail in my blog and my website. But because I am familiar with that program that utilizes the same tactics of gang stalking and the use of this technology against individuals, my knowledge on that program applies to what all TIs are going through. It's the exact same technology, and it's the exact same gang stalking tactics that are used against them. In terms of numbers, I know that there are right now at least 300 to 400 individuals in downtown Seattle that have been abducted from all over the United States, brought to downtown Seattle, and are being housed in DESC, Downtown Emergency Services Center, homeless shelters, and being experimented on 24/7. The numbers of SIS employees that have been experimented on, to my knowledge, is in the dozens. That's all I have direct knowledge of, though, about 24 to 36. And then nationwide, the estimates in terms of targeted individuals who still maintain some manner of autonomy and freedom and have not been brought to Seattle or enslaved completely by this, the estimates I have heard is anywhere from 1 to 2 million at the moment. And we're talking full-blown TIs that get the technology and are being gang-stalked 24/7. Those are the estimates that I'm familiar with. This is discussed very much in the open within SIS and with some of the liaison contacts that I had with DESC, Amazon, and then also members of the military that are in a civilian capacity. One thing you have to understand is that within the security business, most of the people working there are ex-military and ex-intelligence operatives. And many of them, in fact, are still active intelligence operatives and have simply been reassigned to domestic duty to work with a private security company, specifically for the purposes of carrying out this highly illegal program that's being run against TIs all over America. So full-blown TIs, what I would call people that are getting the voice to skull, the frequency, and the organized stalking, I have heard is between 1 and 2 million, and that could be completely off. But one of the things I'm concerned about is the technology as it's being researched and developed in Seattle utilizes emotion manipulation and behavior manipulation without the gang stalking and without the voice to skull aspects. And so this use of the technology can be done very covertly to the point where the person it's being used against will not know that this technology is being used against them. And that is one of my main concerns and one of the reasons why I want to bring more light to this technology and to this issue, because this technology could potentially be being used against tens to hundreds of millions of Americans every day. I've mentioned in some of my podcasts how there are field effects where they will not direct this technology at an individual, but create a general field of frequency in a geographical area so that everybody that within that geographical area is feeling the effects of the technology. It's more of a general application of the technology instead of an individual specific application of the technology. But when you consider that use of it and the fact that it is used for emotion and thought and behavior modification, then we could potentially be looking at many, many millions of people across the country that are under the influence of the technology today, right now. The area of the geographical areas that I'm familiar with are limited to the size of maybe a downtown area of a city, so that the frequency that's being emitted by the device will have an effect on a geographical location, let's say downtown Seattle. And so what they can do is within this general field, they can broadcast a frequency that affects human beings within that frequency field and can induce a general mood of, let's say, happiness or sadness, anger, agitation, peacefulness. And in this way, they can have an overall effect in the city. And I have seen this done, and it is remarkable how effective it is, because you will walk down the street of Seattle and literally see people all in a bad mood, all at the same time, and they do not know each other. And then you go over a block or two to a different office building, and you walk in, and the exact same thing's going on there. It's very, very concerning. So within that, then, that overall bubble or area of frequency where everybody, let's say, is in a bad mood, they can still inject what would be a individual-specific frequency to the targeted individual themselves, let's say the homeless person in Seattle that's being experimented on 24 hours a day. So they will be under the influence of the general agitated mood or bad mood that everybody else is in, and then they can more further be manipulated by the frequency that's being directed solely at them. Absolutely, yes. That is exactly what the people running this program have in mind in terms of application of this particular feature. It is to, or at least it can be used to induce riots, for example, or stop riots. It could be very, very dangerous, and it's a great point you bring up about traffic patterns and auto accidents. I mean, this is messing with the innermost part of human beings, their emotions. And so you can imagine how irresponsible it is to actually manipulate someone into being in a bad mood, and manipulate everybody in town into being in a bad mood. And then they get in their cars and they drive around where their own safety and other people's safety is at risk. It's a huge, huge problem. And you can imagine the applications of this if anyone ever wanted to start a riot, if anyone ever wanted to increase the crime rate. And then, of course, you can use it for the exact same opposite. You can use it to decrease the crime rate by making everyone passive. And that could have nefarious applications as well. If you want people to be passive and not pay attention and not take action, it can be used for that as well. So, yes, the mind is boggled by the possibilities in terms of what this could be used for. The radio frequencies, microwave signals, the entire spectrum of radio frequencies can be used within a certain range to produce all sorts of different effects. So the way it works is a device broadcasts a radio frequency, let's say at an individual, And that radio frequency will hook up with the resonant frequency of the individual's mind or body, or in this case, DNA. And what happens is once the resonant frequency is found in the targeted individual and the broadcast frequency matches up with that resonant frequency, those two frequencies interlock, and they can be thought of as one frequency or one energy. And what happens is between the broadcast frequency and the individual that's receiving the broadcast frequency, once it's resonating, once they are resonating together, a super highway of frequency along which information can be sent is created. And so you can think of it just like fiber optic cables that you use to send signals over the internet that connect people to the internet. It's the exact same thing, only a wireless application of that. And so once you have connected the targeted individual with the frequency and they resonate together, then you have a perfect avenue upon which to send and receive information back and forth. And that's exactly how they manipulate someone's thoughts. They send voices into someone's head. They manipulate their emotions. They manipulate their behavior. And then that's also how they receive back from the individual in real time the vital signs, the emotions, the thoughts, what the person's seeing, what the person's hearing. And then all that information, of course, is rendered on a computer elsewhere via software, and it can be monitored and tracked in real time. It can literally stop your own thoughts from happening and replace them with other thoughts by sending thoughts to your head. And it's so sophisticated that you cannot tell where these thoughts are coming from. There's no way to discern that they are coming from somewhere other than your own mind. So you can imagine how bad this would be for people that don't even realize this technology exists, and they're having these